In this video, we're going to go over how to use Teamio's repeating tasks, and we're also going to cover what you need to be careful with when you're trying to delete tasks that are set to repeat. So let's go ahead and start by creating a simple task. Let's just say it's order paper. If I just say add task, it is not a repeating task when you first create it. You have to set it repeating by actually clicking into it and set it to repeat. All right. So let's say I'd like to create a repeating task that repeats daily. All right. So let's say the task is make sure lab cases are checked in. And in fact, I'd like to tag my clinical team in the back, and I have two clinical assistants, so I'd like to tag both of them. So I'm going to say assistant one, and then I'm going to select the other assistant and just say add task. All right. Now, again, remember when you first create it, it's due today. It's the automatic due date, but it's not set to repeat yet. So let's click on it. And when this panel opens up, the way you set it to repeating is by clicking on set to repeat right under the calendar here. And then you just want to select when you want it to repeat. We'd like to have this repeat daily, and that's pretty much it, okay? And hit save. And what happens when you come back to that task is, if you notice, the way you know that the task is repeating by just glancing at this screen, you see this little icon. It says this task repeats daily, all right? You don't see it on the other tasks, okay? All right, now let's say I want to create a weekly repeating task. Let's say it's, for example, autoclave maintenance, and this time I'm only going to tag one person because she's the only one that is responsible for this specific task. Okay, I'm going to go add task, click into it, set it to repeat, and this time when you select weekly, you actually have to select which day of the week you'd like the task to repeat on. So let's assume the task is repeating every Tuesday. Okay, immediately when you select the day, what happens on the calendar above is selects the next instance this task would be due. So today is the 28th, so the coming Tuesday would be July 30th, so that's what the date would be starting on. But let's say you wanted to start this routine the following week. Okay, you could just change when you want this task to start repeating on. You could just say, okay, I want to start this process on the 6th, August 6th, okay, and it'll come back. But I'm going to leave it as the 30th and just hit save. All right, so now you've got a daily repeating task and a weekly repeating task. All right, and let's now go ahead and create another task, lab cases. This time I'm going to do something differently. Lab cases cleanup. I'm going to tag multiple team members. Task. All right, so here's the task. And I'm going to have this repeat bi-weekly. Okay. Again, you have to select the day. So the coming Wednesday, basically the coming Wednesday, it's going to be August. That's the first day because immediately, since it's bi-weekly, it basically is selecting 2 weeks from today. So it's not going to select 31st. However, if you wanted to, so that's what I wanted to show you guys is if you just select it and if you're thinking, hey, why did it just jump to August 7th? So what you can do, you select the date that you want to start on. So for example, I actually wanted to start on the Wednesday that's coming up, which is the 31st. Okay. And then just hit save. All right. And here it is. That's the repeating task. Let's say if I go back into it. All right. What I want to do, actually, I want to change the actual text of the task. And I want to add a little bit of style as a label. Okay. What I did there was you guys probably didn't notice it here, but you see how this is a little bit more bold than this? It's because if you hold down Control B and you start typing in any text and then you hit save, it will reflect it here. And in fact, you could actually just do it while you're creating the task. So let's say you hold down Control B and let's say I'm creating a monthly repeating task. I can just say monthly repeating task, colon, and then I hit Control B again to get out of being bold. My monthly routine task 1. Add task. Okay, here it is. So when you glance at this, it kind of stands out if you wanted to kind of add labeling to your repeating tasks. So for example, if I click into it, all right, now we have to set it to repeat. So I want it to repeat monthly. And when you repeat monthly, you have to select which day of the month it is. Okay, either first all the way to 31st. However, if you hit 31, be careful because there are months out of the year where you don't have 31 days. And if you want something to repeat on the last day of the month, you want to click this option, repeat on the last day of the month, which grays this out. All right. So obviously, when you select that, it automatically selects July 31st on the calendar above, which happens to be the last day of this month. And go ahead and hit save. Okay. If you have multiple tasks that are going to fall under a same routine, let's say you have another task that's going to fall under monthly repeating tasks. That's why I like to create those labels, kind of stands out. So monthly, let's say control B, monthly repeating, monthly, you could just say whatever you want, monthly task, or you could just say monthly, okay? And control B, task 2, all right? And then I would go ahead and click, set to repeat, monthly, pick a day, let's say this is the 10th of every month, and hit save, okay? All right, so that's how that works, okay? Now, something important that I wanna show you guys is how to actually delete the repeating tasks, all right? And you wanna be careful how this works. So for example, let's say I've got this repeating task, autoclave maintenance. Let's do it this way. I've got this one task completed. I've got another task completed. Well, I'm going to mark this one here. It's a repeating task that is July 30th. It's due in 2 days. It's a repeating task, but let's say I got it done early today. Okay, so I'm done with it, okay? I'm gonna go now ahead and say delete all completed tasks. But look what happens. That task still comes back as another instance. That's the next instance of that task when it would be due. Because if the first instance is deleted, meaning you completed it at the next time because it's a repeated task, it automatically creates it and displays the next due date it will be. Okay, so that's how that works. All right, so that's what happens when you try to delete a bunch of tasks and one of them happens to be a repeating task. What if you individually try to delete a repeating task? Let's look at this one here, the one that repeats bi-weekly. Or actually just let's try to delete this one, the one that's repeating weekly. I go ahead and I click delete. It will ask you for an alert. This task is a repeated task. Are you showing what to delete this task? So you've got two options. Yes, I want to delete only the next instance, okay? And the other option you have is delete all future instances as well, all right? Or you could just cancel out of it. So if I delete the next instance, watch what happens. It's a weekly repeating task. The next task is August 6th. If I just say delete next instance, it will go to the following automatically. That task is deleted, but it would create the weekly repeating task with the next instance, which would be a week from the last one. So that's why it's August 13th. Let's say I just wanted to get rid of it. Okay, let's cancel out of this. I would just say yes, all instances. It completely gets rid of it. That task no longer repeats and no longer exists on the system. Okay, so that's how that works. All right, so I hope this was helpful. And you just have to be careful with deleting repeating tasks because that's something you have to keep in mind, whether you're deleting them individually or if you're going to delete them as multiple and just say delete all completed tasks. It's not going to show you an alert. It's only going to delete the next one instance of that repeating task.